good morning, or good evening, wherever you're watching from. Today's episode starts with something almost everyone has done. You searched for a Microsoft admin tool. The top result looked right. Right icon, right name, right URL preview. You clicked. What happened next wasn't a login page. It was a staged malware chain, ending in a live command and control channel. You clicked a Google ad. Malware ran next. Today we follow that chain step by step. Every domain is sanitized, every hash is fake, and every pseudocode example is labeled pseudocode, not executable. This episode is defensive analysis only. No live malware, no working payloads, no attack instructions. We cover the anatomy, the evidence, and the defenses. Let's begin. Here's the thing about search trust. When we look at a Google results page, we make a judgment in under 2 seconds. The icon looks right, the URL preview looks right, the title matches what we typed, and we click. That visual shortcut is the entire attack surface. Sponsored results sit above organic results. They mimic legitimate design, and they rotate, often for only hours. By the time a researcher tries to reproduce the ad, it may already be gone. What we observed, a sponsored result that appeared to lead to Bing Webmaster Tools, a Microsoft admin product. What we infer, a redirect chain several hops deep, designed to hide the final destination until the victim is already committed to the click. The page looked normal. The path was not. I want to stop here, because this framing matters. When people hear fake login page, they think phishing. Password stolen, change the password, enable MFA, done. That is not what this is. The fake login is the middle of the chain, not the end. The credential prompt lowers suspicion while a security module download is pushed. That module is a batch file. The batch file launches PowerShell. PowerShell stages a Trojanized installer. The installer sideloads a malicious DLL. The DLL opens a live WebSocket channel to a command and control server. This is a full intrusion kit, delivered through a search ad. Credential theft, if it happens, is just the bonus. Before we go technical, let's anchor the human story. From the victim's perspective, this felt normal. They searched for a Microsoft admin tool, something they do every week. They clicked the top sponsored result, and it looked identical to what they expected. When the page asked them to install a security module, that sounded plausible. Microsoft language, official branding, urgency. They thought they were protecting their account. What actually happened? Ad, redirect, fake login, bat file, PowerShell, Trojanized installer, malicious DLL, WebSocket C2. The gap between what they thought they were doing and what actually ran, that's the entire social engineering play. Before we go further, ground rules. Every domain you see is a placeholder. Every hash is sanitized. Any code-looking block is labeled pseudocode. It is not executable. I'm not showing you how to build this attack. I'm showing you how to recognize it, analyze it, and defend against it. I work in an isolated virtual machine, disconnected from production, with network monitoring active and read-only analysis tools. If you do this kind of work, use an isolated lab. Don't analyze suspicious files on your daily machine. This is the credibility slide. 14 artifacts from the investigation, listed in order. Search query, sponsored ad, redirect chain, injected scripts, fake login, bat download, process tree, Trojanized installer, and the CRHNDL.dll smoking gun. Pay attention to artifact 13. Official Tortoise SVN ships assigned crash handler DLL named CRHNDL.dll. This package had CRHNDL.dll, similar spelling, different file name, unsigned. That name mismatch alone is a triage win. Observed means we captured it in the chain. Inferred means behavior strongly suggests it. We don't overclaim. Here's what we observed. A sponsored result in a Google search for Bing Webmaster Tools. The sponsored badge is easy to miss, small gray text, but the icon, URL preview, and title all look correct. The attacker's ad purchase intercepts users who manage websites and need their Bing Webmaster dashboard. These are often IT administrators and webmasters. High-value targets, corporate environments, admin credentials. The ad targeting isn't random. It's deliberate. Here's what most people miss. Before you even click, the raw HTML of the search page contains the actual destination, buried in redirect parameters. Inspect the anchor on a sponsored result and you often see a multi-hop structure, Google's click tracking URL, a tracking intermediary, then the attacker's domain. Legitimate advertisers use redirect tracking too, so this alone isn't proof of malice. But defenders can flag suspicious redirect chains before the click. What we observed or infer, redirect parameters through at least one intermediate domain before the attacker-controlled landing page. This is what makes malvertising investigations genuinely difficult. Unlike a phishing email sitting in your inbox, a malicious ad may only serve to specific users, specific regions, specific times, specific devices. When a user reports something suspicious, capture it immediately. Screenshot the URL, note the time, export session data. Don't assume you can reproduce it later. After the redirect chain completes, the user lands on what appears to be a compromised WordPress site. Not a purpose-built attacker domain, a hijacked legitimate site. Signs of compromise, visible to a trained eye, injected script tags that don't match the site's theme, repeated preload link headers, partial or broken layout where injected code interferes with original content. Classic drive-by pattern. The attacker uses the site's existing trust and search ranking as cover. For defenders, watch proxy logs for unexpected external script loads from unknown CDN domains. Early indicator of site compromise. This is where the attack changes. The redirect becomes a decision engine. The injected JavaScript isn't a simple redirect. It's an obfuscated blob, base64 or obfuscator output, that only reveals its logic when decoded. In a safe lab, the structure looks like this: decode the blob, fingerprint the browser, timezone, screen, VM artifacts, refer. If the visitor passes, redirect to the fake login. If not, show a clean page or send them to bing.com. Scanners fail the fingerprint check. They never see the payload. Real victims do. That's cloaking. The script answers one question: are you a real human victim, or a researcher, bot, or threat intel crawler? Real victim? Show the payload. Researcher? Show a clean page and move on. For checks, browser fingerprint, timezone versus IP, VM artifacts, refer. That's enough to filter most scanners. The user passed the redirect and the cloaking filter. They land on a page that looks like a Microsoft login form. Familiar blue, familiar logo, familiar fields. Brand mimicry. The primary job of this page isn't necessarily credential theft, though that may happen. The primary job is trust reduction. The user thinks they're in the right place, their guard drops, and then a modal appears. Install a security verification module to continue. The login form is the social engineering wrapper. The download is the real payload delivery. This is where the social engineering is most sophisticated. Security module required is weaponized language. Non-technical users hear security and think, this is protecting me. The modal creates urgency: you can't continue without this module. Authority: it appears to come from Microsoft. Installer trust: the download looks like legitimate software. 3 pressure points in one prompt. The download is a batch file, something like Microsoft Security Module.bat. The .bat extension may be hidden if Windows is configured to hide file extensions, which is the default. Microsoft never asks you to download a .bat file from a web page to verify your account. Any such prompt is malicious. The user downloaded what they think is a Microsoft security module. What they actually have is a Windows batch script. Double-click and it executes. Batch files are plain text commands, but they can launch PowerShell, download files, create persistence, and run arbitrary code. This bat file is a loader. Its job is to launch PowerShell, bypass execution policy, and fetch stage 2 from attacker infrastructure. The bat itself may not contain the malware. It's the starter mechanism. Process tree we expect, explorer.exe from the user double-click, command.exe for bad execution, PowerShell.exe for hidden staging. Never run a .bat file from a web download. Enable show file name extensions in Windows File Explorer. Quick recap before we go deeper. So far, sponsored Google ad, compromise site with cloaking JavaScript, fake Microsoft login, security module prompt, bat file download. The user thinks they verified Microsoft. They never saw malware, yet execution already started on double-click. Everything from here is post-execution, PowerShell staging, persistence, installer, DLL sideload, C2. Here's the important part. PowerShell is signed by Microsoft, trusted by the operating system, and lives in System 32. That's exactly why attackers use it. The bat launches PowerShell with bypass flags. PowerShell contacts a remote URL, retrieves encoded content, decodes it in memory, and executes it. The payload never touches disk as a discrete file, so many signature-based tools never see it. MITRE ATT&CK T1059.001, PowerShell execution. Defender hunt, command.exe spawning PowerShell.exe with window style hidden and execution policy bypass. Enable script block logging, event ID 4104. One flag in that launch is window style hidden. No command prompt flashes, no terminal window, the desktop looks normal. PowerShell is quietly fetching and executing in the background. Basic stealth, effective against non-technical users. Visible in Task Manager if they look, and most users won't. Visible in EDR process trees, which is why EDR matters here. After staging, the malware needs to survive reboot. Two common mechanisms, scheduled task and registry run key. We infer names disguised as Windows Update components. Defenders check autoruns, run keys, and scheduled tasks. MITRE T1053 and T1547.001. Now the third stage delivery. PowerShell drops a Trojanized Tortoise SVN installer. Tortoise SVN is a popular SVN client, trusted by developers and IT teams. If security tools see Tortoise SVN in the process list, the first reaction isn't suspicion. The Trojanized package contains all the original files, installer, help files, legitimate binaries, with one critical difference. CRHNDL.dll, added, malicious, ready for sideloading. The installer may work normally. The user may never suspect the package. Here's what most people miss in triage. 3 checks, about 60 seconds. First, compare file hashes against the publisher's official checksum. Second, check digital signatures. Legitimate Tortoise SVN files are signed. Unsigned where it should be signed is a red flag. Third, timestamps. A file newer than the rest of the package tells a story. CRHNDL.dll stands out on all three, and signed, anomalous size, timestamp newer than surrounding files. Tools, sigcheck.exe, VirusTotal, compare against official release file lists. One unsigned, anomalous DLL in a legitimate package, treated as malicious until cleared by lab analysis. DLL sideloading exploits Windows DLL search order. When an executable launches, Windows looks for DLLs in a specific sequence. The application directory is checked before System 32. Place a malicious DLL with the right name beside a trusted executable, and Windows loads the attacker's DLL. The trusted exe becomes the carrier. Its signature and reputation cover the malicious code. MITRE T1574.002. Tortoise SVN.exe loads CRHNDL.dll from its own directory. Malware runs with the full context of the Tortoise SVN process. Network connections appear to come from a trusted development tool. Defender hunt, unsigned DLL in the same folder as assigned exe. Sigcheck.exeu on the install folder. One trusted exe loaded one wrong DLL. That was enough. No exploit, no admin rights. Windows search order did the work. The user didn't run an obvious malware executable. They ran Tortoise SVN.exe, legitimate, signed. Malware now runs inside a trusted process, and C2 traffic looks like legitimate app activity. Unsigned DLL beside signed exe, high confidence signal. CRHNDL.dll is the smoking gun. Official Tortoise SVN 1.14.x installs a signed crash handler DLL named CRHNDL.dll, documented in official build artifacts. This package had CRHNDL.dll visually similar spelling, different file name, and signed, newer timestamp, larger size. Attackers typo squad DLL names to blend in during quick triage. For red flags on one file, and signed, anomalous size, timestamp newer than the package, name not in any official Tortoise SVN release. Immediate triage, sigcheck.exe on the Tortoise SVN folder. #CRHNDL.dll and submit to VirusTotal. Isolate the host. Snapshot memory. For flags on one file, confirmed malicious until lab analysis says otherwise. This is the moment viewers remember. The final stage is command and control. From class names and behavioral indicators, we infer WebSocket for C2. WebSocket runs over port 443, looks like HTTPS, and many firewalls allow it without deep inspection. A persistent WebSocket gives the attacker a real-time bidirectional channel. The infected host appears to make normal HTTPS connections. Defenders look at destination domain, connection duration, and which process opened the socket. Hunt persistent WSS from app data, temp, or unusual application directories. Long connections to young domains. DNS filtering blocks the C2 domain before it resolves. Decompiled class names often survive obfuscation, especially in less sophisticated samples. What we infer from this malware: clipboard monitor captures copied text during the session. Keyboard hook is system-wide keystroke capture. Screen capture takes screenshots on demand via C2. Clipboard plus keyboard plus screen equals complete session visibility. The attacker doesn't need to crack passwords. They see them typed, and they see MFA codes in this example. MFA alone doesn't stop screen capture. Important caveat, inferred from class name patterns. Full behavioral confirmation still requires controlled lab analysis. Full chain, add to C2. Stage 1, sponsored ad on Google. Stage 2, compromised site plus cloaking JavaScript. Stage 3, fake Microsoft login. Stage 4, security module bat download. Stage 5, PowerShell in-memory staging. Stage 6, Trojanized Tortoise SVN installer. Stage 7, CRHNDL.dll sideloaded by trusted exe. Stage 8, WebSocket C2 over port 443. Every stage is huntable. No single silver bullet. Break the chain early, never run web-downloaded bat files. Next, MITRE mapping and the defender checklist. Step back and map behavior, not fear. MITRE ATT&CK gives defenders a shared language for detection engineering, SOC playbooks, and threat intel sharing. Initial access, Malvertising, T1566.002. User execution, the bat double-click, T1204.001. Execution, PowerShell, T1059.001. Persistence, scheduled task T1053.005, registry run key T1547.001. Defense evasion, DLL sideloading T1574.002, hidden PowerShell window. Command and control, WebSocket over 443, T1071.001. Mapping to ATT&CK doesn't mean certainty on every detail. It means we can communicate this analysis to other defenders, and hunt the same behaviors in our environments. Here's your checklist. 1. Check the process tree. Command exe spawning PowerShell.exe with hidden and bypass is almost never legitimate for a normal user session. 2. Block script downloads at the proxy, BAT, and PS1 from untrusted web origins. 3. Alert on BAT spawning PowerShell, a high-confidence Sigma or EDR rule. 4. Verify DLL signatures with sigcheck.exe on install folders. Unsigned DLL besides signed exe. 5. Hunt odd WebSocket traffic, persistent WSS from app data or temp to young domains. Behavioral logic only. No weaponized code. This episode is defensive analysis only. No live malware, no working payloads, no attack instructions. Practical advice: any user can follow this. The entire chain starts with one action: clicking a sponsored result for a login page. 3 habits break it. First, never navigate to login pages via search. Bookmark admin tools from the official publisher site. That breaks the chain at step 1. Second, check the address bar before entering credentials. Microsoft lives on Microsoft.com and Microsoftonline.com. Anything else, close the tab. That breaks the chain at step 3. Third, if a website asks you to download a file to log in, it's a scam. No legitimate web service requires a local file to authenticate. That breaks the chain at step 4. Enable file name extensions in Windows. The .bat extension becomes visible immediately. For Teams, assume someone will click. 3 controls that matter most. DNS filtering plus EDR alerts on bat spawning PowerShell. Block script execution from downloads and app data. Least privilege, so users can't install software silently. Done. We covered a lot today. From a sponsored Google result targeting IT administrators, through redirect chains, cloaking JavaScript, fake Microsoft login, bat download, PowerShell staging, Trojanized installer, malicious DLL sideloading, and WebSocket command and control. 8 stages. 1 search. 1 click. The defense isn't complicated. Bookmark your login pages. Verify your installers. Enable file extensions. Trust your EDR process tree alerts. Run DNS filtering. Apply least privilege. And if a website ever asks you to download a security module to log in, close the browser and report it to your security team. The safest click is the one you never needed. Thank you for watching. Hit subscribe now and tap the bell for all notifications. Ring the bell so you get the next Malvertising breakdown and SOC hunting episode the moment it drops. Share this with your SOC team. I'll see you in the next one.